Are you losing your hair? Tired of covering up unsightly bald spots? Well, we have the solution for you. Shave your head and grow a goatee. At Shave Your Head and Grow a Goatee, we encourage our clients to shave what little hair they have and grow a goatee, drawing attention away from their dying, emasculating hairline and towards their badass new goatee.
Before Shave Your Head and Grow a Goatee, I tried to cover my thinning hair with hats and by leaning back real far when I talked to people. Then I found Shave Your Head and Grow a Goatee and followed the step-by-step instructions. Just 2 steps, really. And now, what can I say? I'm a Shave Your Head and Grow Goatee convert.
Oh, yeah. I look like a bouncer. You got ID?
Stop in for a free consultation today, and a Shave Your Head and Grow a Goatee specialist will work with you through our dirt simple procedure.
This is you now. And essentially, just shave your head and grow a goatee.
You're not gonna do anything with the computer?
When I first met Parker, honestly, I thought he looked like a
I did.
But then, Shave Your Head and Grow Goatee had him shave his head and grow goatee. And now he looks like an ex-Marine.
I'm just a software analyst.
Can you keep a secret?
My hair wasn't the only thing that was vanishing. My confidence went along with it. Kids in my neighborhood, they used to call me names. They called me Chrome Dome, Mirror Ball. They called me Fuckface. But Shave Your Head, Grow a Goatee not only cured my baldness, but it restored my confidence. I just shaved my head, grew a goatee, and now I look like a badass. And everyone's afraid of me.
I'm Sandoval Borsley, founder of Shave Your Head and Grow a Goatee. If you're losing your hair, try Shave Your Head and Grow a Goatee. If you're not completely satisfied with your new look within 30 days, what are you gonna do? Right. I didn't think so.
Shave Your Head.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to yet another episode of Rogan Radio. The reason being we're a little bit late tonight is because we all mixed up. We're playing musical chairs tonight. We have Pat in here from Shinson. Hello, Pat.
Hi, how you doing?
You can pull that microphone closer to you if you like.
All right.
You know what? Sometimes I wonder how this thing even gets rolling.
I don't know. We're a little bit late. And Michelle's not here tonight because Michelle is over in D.C. We sent her on location to figure out what's going on. We have a lot of friends that work for the government, and they have the shutdown now, of course. So we sent her over to do a live report from the Capitol. We're going to do that. Bruce is actually on vacation. We haven't heard from Bruce. Not really sure, actually, where Bruce is right now. Jimmy's not here tonight. So we have D-Mac. Last week he was filling in for Darren, Darren's back now. And Cindy's here, too. Hello, Cindy.
Say hi, Cindy.
Hello,
Right
Cindy.
there we go.
Yeah.
What? I didn't hear
They're back. He's back as director. But Jimmy's gone, so D-Mac, you're like the jack of all trades when it comes to this thing.
You suck.
I'm just kidding.
But once again, you're listening to Rogan Radio from the friendly confines of Studio A here in the campus, on the campus, in the confines of Costello Rogan Lumber Report. Yeah. Now, Pat, we haven't talked to you for a long time. Probably the last time was the Shinston parade.
Yeah,
Christmas
it's been
parade.
a while. That's right.
No, you know what? It's all over the news now. I'm seeing all this stuff. Sammy's decided he's going to retire.
Right. After 20 years, he's going to hang up his political career in Shinston.
Yeah, how about that? So it's wide open now. When's the election?
Absolutely.
When's the election actually coming up?
It'll be the second Tuesday in June.
Second Tuesday of June.
Not sure of the date, but yeah, the second Tuesday.
I vote for Derek McIntyre.
Well, wait a minute here. Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. I vote for him.
By default, we vote
That's
Derek.
right.
So then now there's also some council members are coming up, and then the city manager, Amy, she's went on to a different job.
Amy's moving on to the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation, which she'll be in a position to still help Shinston, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And she's going to stay on board with us through the transition with a new city manager. I think it'll be a smooth transition, whoever we do put in that position, because Amy will be there to help us get through that.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. When it comes to Shinston government, because all governments are different. I mean, sometimes the mayor comes out of the council. Sometimes it's a separate office altogether, like you have your council people and then you have your mayor that are elected. How is it?
Right.
Is Shinston a completely different office separate from the council?
No, the mayor is actually part of the council.
Okay.
You run for your seat, whether you be an at-large council member or in the wards, which is what I am. I'm in the third ward, which is South Shinston.
No, so that's close to the psycho ward that we often
yeah,
that's where you come from, right, Chuck? That's where you come from.
I'm the Pleasant Hill, that area.
I got you.
Yeah, and I'll run for my seat. Now, once I hopefully get elected to council again, then the council itself votes on who will be the mayor.
Okay.
So it's not a citywide election. I don't go out running for mayor. I run for my seat.
Right.
Then I'm hopefully will be elected by the council.
Okay, very good.
That's
man.
my goals.
So that's give him a big round of applause.
That's my goal for 2018.
So how long have you actually been on the council now?
2 years. A little over 2 years.
Now. Is it everything you've dreamed it would be? Listen, it's a lot more.
It's a lot of work.
You know it's going to be. You know it's going to be a lot of work, but you don't really realize how much work it's going to be until you're on there. And then listen. I can only imagine the phone calls and the 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
It is. There's always something wrong, and the complaints are part of it. And I enjoy dealing with that. I like to give somebody they can call and talk to about it. Getting the issues resolved is another. It's just a constant effort to make sure everything runs smooth. We get the right people in the city itself. The workers, the public works, the city manager, all those departments got to work together. And we are really the ears that's on the tracks to listen for any troubles throughout the community, and then we bring those troubles to the department heads, and hopefully they can resolve those quickly.
Right. Well, and not only do you have to worry about whatever problem you have that sporadically pops up, but you also have to worry about paying for it.
There's exactly the paying for it and what's coming next, because there's always something coming on down the line behind the problem that you're taking care of today.
Now, speaking of paying for things, there's a big government shutdown in D.C. That was a nice tie-in. It was a nice tie-in that I had.
Absolutely.
Nice segue.
And our very lovely and talented Michelle, she is actually on location in D.C. Let's go ahead and cut via satellite over to the District of Columbia, to the seat in front of the U.S. Capitol, reporting live from D.C., Michelle Rogan. Michelle, what's going on? What's the latest? What's the latest now? It looks like it might be raining or something there in D.C.
There's a slight drizzle. There's a little chill in the air, and there's a slight drizzle. So yeah.
Now it also sounds like there might be some protesters. It sounded kind of like a little bit of protesting in the background.
No, actually.
Now there's also a ball game going on.
Yeah, that might have been what that was.
No, it's very quiet. We have some tourists that are running around but other than that, it's actually pretty quiet.
I hear the traffic. You must be close to the traffic.
Pretty quiet. Excuse me.
Yeah, that happens.
Broadcasting live. Yeah, live. Can I help you?
Statue of Liberty.
Wrong state, sir. Wrong. Yeah, we're in D.C.
Michelle.
Okay. But anyways, actually, it's all going pretty good. Right
now, what have you heard anything with Mitch McConnell? Have you heard anything lately? Are they striking deals behind closed doors on trying to get things with Schumer worked out and everything else as far as coming to a compromise, as getting this budget underway to get people
McDonald's? Yeah, I've seen about 5 McDonald's. There's actually 2 that are like right down this street, and there was another one on the other side, and I actually went to one earlier.
No.
So yeah, there's 5 McDonald's.
Well, we were talking about. Okay. Anyway, have you seen? Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything from Donald Trump? Anything from the president, Donald Trump?
Yeah. Is his hair as yellow as it looks on TV?
Forrest Gump. Yeah, like actually, I seen somebody run it. They were jogging earlier, and it kind of looked like Forrest Gump. I couldn't tell, but I kind of thought it was Forrest.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Rogan, broadcasting live from D.C. Now, listen, we also have. There's a big thing happening out in Hawaii also. Now, are you going to be able to catch that flight with that X-22, whatever, the supersonic jet?
Actually, the producers, the producers here are telling me that we are going there soon.
Okay.
So that we can catch what's going on there, because there's so much going on around the world right now. And so we're actually getting on a plane now.
Okay.
And I'm heading to Honolulu. Sorry, babe. But I'm heading to Honolulu so that I can actually report for them for the international surfing competition.
Fantastic. Well, you be on your way. Have a safe flight, and we'll see you when you get home.
DC's great, by the way. There was this restaurant down the street earlier, and I had this.
Listen, we're not talking Marvel, DC, whatever superhero you like. Go ahead and go on your flight. Be on your way.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. That was a big report from the District of Columbia of Michelle Rogan there.
She is a fine reporter.
She absolutely is.
Wow.
She absolutely is.
Wow.
Very, very courteous to the tourists.
She was.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it seems strikingly enough, that looked a lot like Bruce.
It did. But they all look the same, right?
Oh, that brings us to our next topic.
What's
nice segue. Didn't we get a...
But they all look the same, though, right?
Oh, no, listen. No,
Hey, there we go.
That brings us to our next topic.
Let's go to our next topic.
No,
Chuck.
which
You
will
know
not
we
be
were-
that.
We're not going to talk about that. Okay, well.
Yeah.
No, what we are going to talk about, though, is this thing now. I saw an article on CNN this morning. Okay, it was about how this government shutdown is going to affect everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Including the world, because the world might end now.
Well, it almost did.
Well, absolutely. They were talking about CNN because of this thing. They don't have now. NASA's not going to be able to track these near-Earth asteroid dinosaur killer things. Yeah. And strangely enough, was it yesterday?
It was
this morning or yesterday?
Saturday.
There was an asteroid that came 25,000 miles. You know, it was what was the size of a car going 76,000 miles an hour or something like that. Yeah. That only came 25,000 miles off the surface of the planet. Now listen, that's not a whole.
If that's all the bigger it was, you know it's going to be smaller than Meteor Crater I showed you.
Well, I mean, but you know.
Yeah, but listen, what kind of damage can this thing do, right?
The size of a car going 76,000 miles an hour is going to leave a pretty big hole if it hits the wrong place. It would probably take the Lumberport off the map, I assume.
I don't know. Well, now Haywood
maybe. Haywood maybe.
Well, the one out Meteor Crater was. It was 150 feet wide,
right?
Traveling at 440,000 miles an hour when it impacted.
Nuts. Wow!
So, or 11 miles a second.
For those Can you imagine something going that fast?
And it caused hurricane force winds for miles.
Did you happen to see there was one not too long ago? I think it was up in the. What the fuck? There was one up in Michigan or something.
Michigan.
That actually caused like a earthquake, or it rumbled the ground so much people actually thought it was an earthquake, and they saw this thing coming out of the sky and everything.
It was like a 2.2 on the Richter scale.
Yeah, the John Richter scale. I loved him on Three's Company. By the way,
that was Ritter.
Come on, knock on my door.
Come and knock on my door.
It's easy
We've
for
been waiting for you.
Anyway, we have Pat in here from Shinston. Michelle, she was just at a report from out in D.C. We're going to figure out what's going on now. It changes by the minute as far as this government shutdown thing goes. And it makes me I don't want to poke fun at this too much, but I'm going to a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. The government shutdown. Everybody's all upset because people aren't going to get their paychecks here, or they're not going to be able to do this, or not going to be able to get their service there, whatever, okay? Because the two sides can't come together to come to a budget of, I can't remember how many billions of whatever it might be. And some people say it's over DACA or this or that. Now, the crazy thing for me is, now this is the wildest part that nobody talks about. How can there even be a budget to spend money when the U.S. government owes $17 trillion in the first place? You know what? Yeah. That's a lot of money. Now, here's the thing you have to think about, is that you look at how you go on Facebook right now, and you look at how the world's coming to an end because nobody's going to get their shit, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you think about that day that it actually comes to where those checks will never come, because there is not going to be any money. There's going to be a collapse. And listen, it's probably a lot closer than people think. Now they can print money all they want because they have the reserve currency, and with oil, and then thinking it's for the fracking and the shell to kind of keep that a little bit more. But you think about that day when you're talking about $17 trillion in debt, and people are complaining now that I want this and I want to say, listen, you're not even. You understand this is all going to be printed money. You're not even getting money because they already owe $17 trillion, and sooner or later. This stuff that you're talking about now that might last for a week or 30 days is going to last forever.
Right.
You know, that's the way the country's on its way anyway. I mean, you figure you think about what the new motto is America, land of the entitled and the offended.
Well, but yeah, absolutely. with that was kind of like another segment we can go into with the offended. But I found it kind of weird that people are upset now. When they're not upset, seeing the bigger picture of why this is happening in the first place, because I think they bring in what is it, $1 trillion a year or something like that. So to make a long story short, if the U.S. government shut down for 17 years straight and did not spend a dime on anything, they would still owe money to somebody else.
Oh, wow! In technical
17 years.
Yeah, for 17 straight years, because they owe a little bit over $17 trillion, right. And then they only get like a $1 trillion a year in tax taxes brought in. So, roundabout number. But if you could think about that, 17 straight years, think about what you were doing 17 years ago till now. And if the U.S. government didn't spend shit on the military or Social Security or, say, like the VA paychecks or the post office with the Treasury, because we're off budget, so we don't have to really worry about that. All this stuff that they highways, they didn't spend a dime. It takes 17 years before they actually they balance themselves. That's a scary thought.
It is a scary thought. The scarier for me is that they can't balance. They can't. There's no budget. They just extended this thing like what 3 weeks or something. Now they're right back in it. And what they'll do is they'll just extend it for another two or 3 weeks, and then they'll do it again.
Yeah, it's
you know what? You know who's still getting paid? Congress.
Yeah. Well, I think
they're still getting paid.
But I do have to say, Manchin, I think, came out with a thing saying that they wouldn't get.
Well, they killed it. They killed that bill.
They knocked it out.
He introduced it, and then there was another senator who actually introduced to make sure the military kept getting paid.
Yeah,
and they killed that too.
Did they? Really?
You know what? But you know what? Like the FBI and the. Who's the people at the airports, the TSA and all that? I mean,
essential personnel.
Yeah, they still have to go to work.
Yeah,
still got to go to work, but they're not getting paid.
No,
but they're not getting paid.
Hey, on a lighter note, I'll tell you what we need to do right now. We need to get the emoji flying because that kind of depressed me a little bit. We're going to go out and see, get a status update. Michelle's either in a plane or in Hawaii right now with the big surfing competition out there. Bruce, he's not here tonight either. He's floating around somewhere also. I think he's partying it up a little bit.
Do you
Pat
blame
from
him? He
Shinson
just
here.
got engaged. I'd be part
Bruce
of that too.
Darren, you missed it last week. Bruce made the announcement that he and Amy are now engaged. Well, that's fantastic. Chad and Carol, they're still not engaged, but they're one day closer. I can say that. I can say that and be legit.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Michelle and I are having baby bed bugs. Or not bed bugs, stink bugs. Stink bugs.
Baby
Stink
bed
bugs.
If you
Oh, my
if
God.
you guys are having bed bugs, you're having a problem.
Let me tell you something. Every time we go somewhere, it's the most annoying thing ever is the fact of the first thing she does is rip all the sheets off of everything and look for bed bugs.
Listen, the last time, where did we stay? Oh, when we went to your wedding, we stayed at that hotel.
Honest
First thing
to
she
God.
did, she's making me pull the fitted sheets up, and she's making me take the pillow sheet. I mean, everything. She's looking at everything because she does not want to take a bed bug home with her.
I told her, I was like, listen, if you really want to look for bugs, why don't you look at my pants? Because I'm sure there's some bugs in there.
Little tiny pea bug.
No, I'm talking. Did you say? Wait a minute. Did you say? Did you
No,
say
little
pea
pea bug.
bug?
Little tiny pea bug. Just
You
don't
know,
don't put Hitler on there, buddy.
Oh no, I got a replacement. You'll see.
Okay.
Well, you can
all
see
right.
it now.
Yeah, I see it now. It's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we want to remind you to.
But it's okay if we have a dancing fat guy in there.
Right,
we're
right,
like
right.
racist towards the obese, right?
Exactly.
We want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Once again, want to remind you, KDS Primitive Science Shirts and more. They go ahead and provide all our propaganda for us as far as
propaganda.
That's what I use. I mean, we're using all these like crazy terms all of a sudden. It's all in the thing. We have the shirts, the hats, the do rags. We have it all. Go ahead at Tumblers. Go ahead and give them a call, and it doesn't have to be necessarily just Rogan Radio things. If you need something printed at all, KDS Primitive Science and more. It is over at 366-1234 out of Fairmont. Great, fantastic people. Also, Duggar Dance.
Yeah. February 10th.
February 10th, big Duggar Dance happening. Hey, buddy, let me tell you something right now.
Hey, come on down. Get your groove on.
I told Pat he's going.
Pat, you have to go. Listen, it's a blast.
it is
Now,
great.
you might not get to be mayor after you go to this thing, but you're going to have a good time not getting there.
We will, for a fee, promise to keep all of the video that we take separate from the internet.
Okay. We'll set the price after the show.
No, that's up
Yeah,
there up
that's
at
right.
up at the Courtyard Marriott in Bridgeport, February 10th. You can go ahead. What's really nice is that they usually have a Duggar rate if you want to stay all night. Last time it was $59
And listen,
to stay at the Courtyard Marriott. And listen, nice place.
Showers.
The shower
I keep
heads
hearing
are
about
fantastic.
these showers.
Oh, no, listen.
Vicky and I are going to go up, and we got to get a room.
you
because-
coming?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had plans last time, but we're going to get one of them rooms because you know what? I want to try out the shower.
I swear to you, you could fit 7 people in that shower.
Really?
Oh,
so we
Oh,
could
no,
me
it's
and you and
fantastic.
Megan and Chuck and
You could.
Michelle in there.
You could do
And
it.
Chad.
It actually.
I ain't getting in the shower with y'all.
Oh, come on.
No.
We squeeze Carol in there. She don't
Yeah,
take
she's
it.
little.
She's
She don't
like
take
half
up
a
much
person.
room.
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
Get a little choked up there.
Who do we have on here with us tonight? Anybody?
Oh, we got everybody. We got a little Linda Griffith. We got
Hello, Linda.
Allison Duckworth.
Allison
Just popped on
Duckworth.
here. Yep.
Whoa.
Carol's on here. Charlie.
Hello,
Stowe.
Allison.
Gloria Mano's on here.
Hello, Gloria.
Scott Sears, Betsy Shaw,
What's going on, Betsy? We haven't talked to Betsy for a long time.
Jerry Thomas, Pam Kirby's on here. She's been
Hello,
on.
Pam.
Hey,
Pam.
by the way, as far as the Duggar Dance thing is concerned,
Yeah.
I want to make his public service announcement to everybody.
Uh-huh.
Do not leave your phone in the bathroom.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
You might end up with some extra pictures.
What happened was last
like
time
that.
we found a phone in the bathroom. Now I'm not really sure how we found that. Was it Megan that found it?
No, somebody. It might have been Megan.
Because it was 2017, and so occasionally I just like to go in the women's bathroom and say I'm a transvestite. And I'm allowed to do that these days, or whatever.
Well,
so big
it's
big
okay,
deal.
because you identify as a woman sometimes.
Well, absolutely. And what was really nice about it, this time I actually saved somebody because I found a phone in there. I was like, whoa, there's a phone. I was sitting down there looking at my shoes, tying my shoes and stuff, doing what women do.
And you saved a life.
And I was like, whoa, there's a phone down here. I'm going to, it's an iPhone at that. And then, the last time I had an iPhone was over to Kroger's, and that really hot chick and them skinny jeans had that thing. And I went up there and held it because it was getting ready to fall out of her back pocket, because why chicks do that, I don't know, but they do.
It's a good thing Rochelle's in Hawaii right now.
I'm glad you grabbed it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, she's on location now, so we're going to go right back there here shortly. But I saved that phone. Anyway, we found this phone, and it wasn't locked. She didn't have a lock on it.
Parker Fulton.
So, hello, Parker. What's up, baby, over on 4th Street? So what we did was we took this picture. It was me, D-Mac, Megan, all of us at the table. Listen, we were partying up. Chat. Listen, we took this, and we took all kinds of crazy pictures with it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And then we went and said, okay.
Nothing vulgar.
Oh, okay.
The bad part about it is I think the owner was actually in the background of one of the pictures that we took.
That is true. That's a true story. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So you did find out whose phone it was?
Oh, yeah, we found out.
Yeah. Somebody we know?
No.
No, really?
No. Just some random person or whatever.
Well, we have an audio issue? Somebody?
Everybody report in. Everybody's listening, report in. Tell us if our audio is doing all right, please.
Somebody just turn on their phone and listen to it real quick. So anyway, so we picked this phone up, and then we actually went ahead and turned it in to the phone, and we found the owner and all that, which it turned out to be fantastic after that.
Nice people.
Yeah. And so when she actually got to see this thing, it was like, whoa. She went through those pictures and be like, what? I think we even told her. So you might find some stuff on there that you want. Any news yet on this?
We're getting good, all good. Sounds good.
Judy Hall said sounds good. Linda says all good. Betty Saw says I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, well, anytime we get reports of maybe some sound stuff, maybe there are moments in time, because we do have a boatload of stuff going on here. We have wireless stuff. We have all these routers. We have the satellite communication now. We have all this junk going on. And which reminds me, the satellite stuff, we're getting very, very close to doing our 24-hour radio station.
We are.
Listen.
Are you going to man the mic for 24 hours, buddy?
Listen, do you want a teaser for this thing? The first thing we were doing the other day. Now, what this radio station is going to involve, it's going to be 365 days a year, every single hour on the hour. And it's going to be music that you like. It's going to be AC/DC. It's going to be Metallica. We're going to pay the licensing. Everything's going to be taken care of so we can do that. Each one of these guys in here and gals, we're going to have our own show. Like I can see,
like an own segment or something.
Like you were, what was the one you were wanting to do there, Darren? You were wanting to
heavy metal.
Yeah, like say Maniac Monday or something like that.
Yeah, Heavy Metal Monday.
Right. So then Darren was actually going to actually do that. He's going to host that. Pat, after he gets kicked out of Shinston. You know what? When you come in, no, I'm just joking with you.
Maybe not.
I think we should broadcast from Shinston.
See, that would be.
Let's get you back over across.
You know what? How about that? We could do that.
Back to your roots, Chuck.
We can find you. We can find you some space in town.
One of them wards. You came with one of them wards. Oh, psych ward.
I'll go back over to East Shinston.
Yeah.
But we're all going to have our different shows, and all these different things are going to be kept. It's going to be pretty cool, actually. But it's going to be a process. We're looking at least a month out for that. For the mere fact we have to put all the music in to make sure we don't get sued for anything like that.
Yeah.
But I want you to listen to what one of the liners are going to sound like, because we were doing this the other day. Now, liners are what you hear between the songs and like the sweepers and things, like you hear 102 WVAQ, stuff like that. Which I'm looking for right now. I should have had one right handy.
I got this one I was goofing around with. It don't really do it like what you got, though.
Okay, like for example, this is going to be one of them, okay? This is what it's going to sound like. Let me turn this thing up real quick. Let's see. It's going to be like this, maybe.
Station with the best music.
I don't know what's going on with it.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's go. The station with the.
So this is going to be like one of the liners, and it's all going. I don't want to play too much of it because it has all that copyright stuff in there. Anyway, that's that. That's that. Now we're going to be talking. We're going to go back with Pat here very shortly. We're going to talk about some upcoming things that you're looking forward to in the city of Shinston, as far as some big plans. I've heard rumors. Maybe you can squelch this if it's true. If it's not true, that the pool's not going to open this year. Have you heard those rumors yet?
No, that's the first I've heard of that.
There's rumors all over the place.
Well, we had a very successful 2017 season at the pool. most successful since the pool opened. So I highly doubt
But there's always rumors about stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and squelch a lot of this stuff. If you have a question, by the way, if you have a question for Pat, without being too controversial about it, just general questions, if you want to know anything, you can either call in at 681-222-7646 or just go ahead. We have Chad, Derek, and Todd on the computers. They'll ask him, and then that would be great. If you have any questions at all about your city government that you can do by chance, that Pat could possibly answer, which might not be, you might not be able to answer. You might. He's going to help you out.
Well, Mark Walsh said he needs his street paved.
Mark Walsh is out of city limits, believe it or not.
Oh, is he really?
Stadium Drive. Sorry, Mark.
Well, see, he lives on Stadium Drive, right?
Right.
But that's outside city limits?
Outside of city limits, yeah.
No kidding.
Where is the city limit stop at in Shinston?
It's a weird spot there. The football field's in. Mark Walsh on Stadium Drive, the Brennan property, over to the high school. That section's out.
Right.
High school's in.
Yeah.
Prime Funeral Home's out. Down to the subway.
Really?
Oh, so it's kind of like goes up, down, up, down, up.
It kind of follows the road more than anything.
They call that shoestringing, and it was allowed years ago when they done that. Anymore, that's illegal. So you'd have to take the whole block, the whole section in to do that. And we're looking to straighten up those lines, hopefully, in the next year or two.
Oh, to kind of incorporate
we're trying
those?
to annex those areas that are out that should be in, by all common sense, they should be in.
Oh, I see.
So we're looking to clean up those lines.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So basically, the people in the cemetery are in city limits.
They're
Mark
out.
Walsh is out.
Yeah, the cemetery's out.
Yeah. You know how many people are in there?
No, I don't know how many people are in there.
All of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and we're going to head back out.
That's hilarious. You killed me. Hey, my wife's on here. Oh, love you, honey poopy. She was coloring hair tonight. Okay, Vicky, we're late too as usual.
Who's got sound?
She had Puccio.
I have sound for some reason.
That's not me this time.
No, what is going on here? Hold on. We're going to go back out there. See, what we did, we hooked this satellite communication stuff up, and it's messed us up horribly, something awful. So we're going to try again to go out to, this time, Honolulu. I think the X-22, I believe that's what the supersonic jet now that the Navy has.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and have that thing. So we're going to go ahead and, there we go. We're going to go live to Honolulu now, reporting. She just came back from D.C., reporting on the government shutdown. Now she's out in Honolulu, Hawaii, with a big pipeline surfing contest. We're going to go ahead and check out. Michelle Rogan is out enjoying the sun. Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Wonderful. Like I came from rainy, drizzle weather where it was windy and a little chilly. Now I'm in like 85-degree temps probably here, and we have so many surfers, and this surf competition is really getting heated up.
Heck yeah, it is.
They are really starting, and there's been surfers. They're warming up now. We haven't actually started the official competition, but there's surfers from all over, hundreds of surfers.
Now wait a minute. No, it sounds like you're almost.
wonderful.
It almost sounds like you're liking this just a little bit to your description of all these surfers.
No, these are really cool surfer dudes. They're probably in, I'd say they're 20s. Well built. They all have a tan, and they all
six-pack
have
abs.
Sandy.
Okay.
Going on, and it's great. Like I had a quick flight, but.
I do want to know, did we have the budget to be able to bring you back home, or are you stuck with all those guys out there for a while?
I don't know, but I mean, that's good. That's good.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
I hear you guys.
I hear some dolphins. Are some
Maybe
dolphins?
a little communication.
Did you go fishing with the dolphins yet, or swimming with the dolphins?
No. I just got here. Like it was a quick flight, because I covered all the government shutdown in D.C. So, quick flight.
Okay.
Quick flight.
Are your arms tired?
Pardon?
Are your arms tired? Can you hear me, Michelle? You got audio there?
I do.
Okay. Are your arms tired? Are your arms tired?
From flying, babe.
From flying over there.
From flapping your wings, babe.
Excuse me, sir. Can I help you? Wrong state. No, not. I'm reporting live actually for the yes, I'm reporting live for the international surfing competition. Yeah. We love our tourists.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Listen, I don't know what that, but that looked a lot like Bruce. Bruce said he was going on vacation.
No, that was Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I think it was Jackie Chan.
It looked a lot like Jackie Chan.
It was.
Cowabunga. Guys warming up or no?
Was it the same one, or was it a different one?
Be careful. Be careful now. Back to Michelle Rogan.
Does anybody see this? Like, does anybody see these guys?
Listen,
warming up
it
for
looks
the circle?
fantastic out there, Michelle.
Yeah, I know.
Man, oh man, them hot bodies, right? The hot bodies.
You know what? Michelle.
I'm a married woman.
Well, it'd be the first time you said that. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from Honolulu, Hawaii, Michelle Rogan.
Michelle Rogan.
She is fans of Vaughn Haggerty. You start it with a V, you end it with an H. He is Vaughn. He is a Viking King, surfer dude. He is a strip king owner and Russian gangster. And you can check him out live this Saturday with Metallica at the Mellon Arena. Get your tickets now at 681-222-7646. It's Vaughn Haggerty. Haggerty.
The Monster.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'll tell you what, those are absolutely fantastic.
Steve Ice joined. Carol Miller's on here, by the way.
This Friday, the government shut down and we don't give a shit because we still want to eat and we'll come kill your cows or maybe kill you and eat you too. The government shut down. We don't care. Listen.
We'll eat your cow.
I love cows.
I do
Cows
too.
are good.
I don't know how you can be a vegan. I swear to God, I can.
They look great on your dinner plate, don't
Yes,
they?
they do.
Listen, you're a poet and didn't know it.
Hey, listen, what is the difference? What's the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian?
I believe it's the same thing, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is.
Vegetarian, they'll drink stuff like milk and things. A vegan won't.
Yeah,
Like,
it's straight.
A vegan is
anything
straight plant.
Yeah, lettuce.
that comes from an animal, period.
Nothing. No broth from a chicken. No nothing. Only just plant stuff, I guess, right?
Actually, yeah,
Oh,
nothing
okay, I
but
didn't know that.
plant-based.
I always wondered that because I've heard vegan. I thought they were the same thing too. Just a fancier word for vegetarian, vegan, but I guess not.
Well, hold on.
Very
just a second.
strict order of vegetarian.
No
Yeah, it's like a
animal.
cult.
Vegan is no animal byproducts whatsoever.
And with anything.
No
whatsoever.
cheese,
No cheese, no milk,
no
nothing.
eggs.
Nothing.
How about something made? How about Elmer's glue? If you need
Wouldn't
some
that be
Elmer's glue.
boring? Wouldn't that be
that's
boring?
from horses.
Yeah,
they
you
won't
can't
eat
do that.
glue either.
Oh, glue won't eat. I ate a lot of Elmer's glue when I was a kid.
That's what's wrong
Listen, it
with
was
That's a
whiteout.
lot.
Whiteout. Sniff that whiteout stuff.
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you what happened one
Yeah.
time. A guy I went to school with. We're going to save his name. His name was Jason. For everybody will know last name right.
Because his
anyway.
name is His name is
Anyway, well, he loved the smell of super glue, and we were messing around in Mrs. Rice's class one time. Okay, so we're sitting. It was me and Carmen Conji, and I can't remember, maybe Chad Hudson or something like. But we're sitting in this little group, and Jason pulls out this thing, and he's sniffing it. At which point, I hit his hand.
Wait.
Now, at which
Wait.
Who just came on and joined
Vaughn
us?
what?
Haggerty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Rogan Radio for his first time appearance on the chat room, it's Vaughn Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty. Vaughn Haggerty. Haggerty.
The guy rocks and rolls, he kicks monster ass, and he's ready to show down and to throw down.
Loves shit stick.
You can check out Vaughn Haggerty this Saturday with Metallica, the Monsters of Truck, and the Battle of the Bands at the Mellon Arena, Three Rivers Stadium. 681-222-7646. Call Ticketmaster now.
You can buy the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Edge. Chili Vaughn Barney. Chili Vaughn
Haggerty. Love Vaughn Haggerty.
I love you, Vaughn.
Hey, we got to get. I tell you, every time I see him downtown during the parades, I always say, Vaughn, I said, we got to get you in his studio.
Absolutely, we do.
Same here. Every time I see him, I ask
Right?
him, when you going to come up?
Exactly. He's got to find a microphone.
I
I
was coming home from work the other day, and Vaughn was down there getting his mail. And I was just, I just drove right by, and I was like, you know what, man? This would be the perfect time to kidnap him for a few days. Come up there and tie him up and wait till say, listen, Vaughn, I love you and everything, but you're not going to go anywhere till Sunday. You're going to sit here till Sunday. We'll feed you. Whatever we got to do, but for the next 4 days, you're basically going to be a sex slave. So you know what?
Wow.
I mean a slave. I mean a slave.
No, you meant sex slave.
No, but it's Vaughn.
Todd Beck, check your messages.
Ooh, I'm looking.
Did you get in trouble again?
I don't think so.
Who do we have on here now? Fill me in. What's going on around this joint?
Well, let's see. Brucey's fiance's on here.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Yeah, Megan Walker's on here. Megan, Amy Lambert. Of course, my wife's on here, and I guess.
I'll tell you
What
what.
about my wife? Is she on there?
Oh no,
No, your wife said to hell with you tonight.
She might.
Is she? Listen, here's what I want you to do right now. Okay. I think Michelle's going to be coming back here pretty soon. Her flight's going to be coming back. We're going to sit here. But in the meantime, call up Vicky McBeck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Because
while
last
we're
week,
waiting on that, I got a question.
Okay.
Back to the vegan, vegetarian thing.
Okay.
Does that ruin a say, does that ruin a vegan's status as far as vegan if they swallow, say, milk?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's protein.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you can get protein in a bean.
If
you get a messenger
protein
there,
in
just
a
go
bean.
let-
You
look-
ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Just
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and give her a ring. No,
All right.
you know what? Confusing. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It's just too confusing. It just makes everything so daggone hard when you start putting these labels like a
I
vegan,
just thought about that. I was
vegan,
wondering if that-
Vegas. You know what? I mean,
I thought about that too. To be honest with you.
we're calling Vicky McBeck right now because last week what happened was we had the women of Rogan Radio here. Vicky.
Yeah.
Listen,
Oh
darling.
my God.
Hi, Vicky.
Well, we haven't seen you for a long time, Vicky, and you know why?
Because Todd never wants me to come.
That's true.
Oh, I do, honey. And I try like hell.
That's what he said.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Cuddles must be there.
Oh, shut up. Cuddles work at midnight. He ain't got
Anyway,
time for that.
listen, I want a person. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle is back from her flight from Hawaii.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
she just got.
are your
Come
arms
take a
tired?
seat.
Are your arms
Holy,
tired?
she looks like she has the red. You take the red eye. You have a. Holy moly!
She did a great job.
Boy, I'll tell you what, amazing.
She did a really good job as our first on the scene.
That was a green screen, but Darren, go ahead and give a shot of that. What we were doing green screen stuff, so we're testing that out. That was the green screen, and then actuality.
I actually had 2 flights. It was exhausting.
It was in actuality, ladies and gentlemen. He's not on vacation. Bruce is here. If you didn't recognize him, Bruce was the double. He was the side character there.
2 people clapping. 2 people. This whole room. 2 people clapping.
That's right. Brucey was here too. So yeah, we were trying out the green screen. So we're trying. That's one of the new things we're trying. Anyway,
Where's Jimmy at?
Anyway, Vicky, you weren't here last week.
No, I was not.
Now listen. We were very upset about that because we talked about this for at least a week beforehand that we were going to bring all the women down here and we were going to have this big party and everybody was going to get together and that's why everybody was here. So everybody was here but you.
Everyone but me. Now wait a minute. You guys talked about this?
Oh yeah.
I-
Well, I mean, no.
It's on the group
We have this group chat thing.
With Rogan Radio,
In between.
Oh, the one that Todd ignores.
Well, yes.
He's done a very good job.
Yes.
He's done a very good job this week with that message.
Yeah, I have, haven't I, Derek? I've been on every time
You've
that
been
phone.
responded to everything.
Even
this
when that
week.
phone goes off and I'm carrying mail, I check it. I'm afraid it's going to be Michelle, so I got to check it every single time.
Well, you know what? I sat over here and cried because
You did
I
not
saw
cry.
all the other women and wives and
Good job,
fiancés
Todd.
Well,
there.
Vicky, it'll never happen again because I will message you individually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That
because
makes it
I
better.
felt so unloved.
Oh my God!
I was so sad.
Someone get it.
I
We got
was.
violin music, Derek.
That's what we were talking about.
Looking for
Now,
here.
see, now you're getting me in trouble because Carol's on here saying, well, I didn't find out until Sunday.
Whoa.
Oh,
Well,
man.
but Carol was there.
Carol was
Well,
there.
Yeah,
was
it was
there.
last
saw
minute, but I got my
Carol,
message.
Amy, Michelle, Megan.
Megan
No
was.
Vicky. No Vicky.
No, Vicky. I'm sorry, Vicky.
I
No,
tell you
you're
what,
not.
on my from now on
Yes, I am.
my way through, I'll make sure to stop by. If you need to come over, I'll make sure to stop by and pick you up since Todd won't bring you over.
Yeah.
I asked Todd tonight, and I said, "Do you want me to come over, honey?" Well, you don't have to.
Listen, here's what we're going to do.
No,
right
I
now.
said, honey, if you want to, you can.
We're going to
That's
solve
what I
this.
said.
Well, next time we just all go out together,
And pick her
but
up.
Todd.
Okay,
Listen.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Leave me home.
Vicky,
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll just leave Todd home, and
Yeah,
I'll come.
we'll-
and
yeah,
As a
have
matter of
great
fact,
time.
we will pick you up to take you to the Duggar dance and leave him home.
That's right.
Fine. I'll
Hey,
babysit. I'll sit home babysit.
now listen, we're
Okay.
we're just going to make everything up for her right now because Todd was in the doghouse, and you know what? We have our little bubble here.
Yeah, Todd's in a doghouse.
So we're going to make it up to him, and we're going to Vicky. What we're going to do, and I want you to sincerely take our apologies on behalf of Todd, and to fix that,
Thank you.
what we're going to do is we're going to have a little love jam for you.
All right.
Oh, I've never got a love jam. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're going to jam you hard right now.
Hard.
You're a married man, Chuck Rogan.
You've never had a love jam? Seriously?
She's never had a love jam. I mean, not here in the studio.
Not here in the
from,
studio
not
is
from
new.
the whole Rogan.
Not from 7 guys at one time.
How about that? Todd would do the lab jam to Vicky for apologies.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Cindy, will you do me a favor and hit those lights right behind you?
Can you say
Oh no, actually, let me
doghouse?
hit these lights. Go ahead and turn those back on, please.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, this is going to be
this,
great.
This is going to be great. Okay, everybody.
Stand by.
Okay, what's going to happen here?
Set in the mood.
Captain
a little
Earl Beck was in big trouble last week with Vicky because he didn't basically tell her that we were having a little bit of a party. So what he's going to do now, he's going to make it up to her in the form of a love jam.
Come on, Captain Earl.
Bring it, honey.
Yo, how many times have I heard that? All right, you ready, Chuck? Turn the music up a little bit. Are you there, baby?
I'm here.
I got a little poem. I want to write a little, sing it. I want to say a little poem for you. Roses are red, violets are purple. Your kisses are as sweet as maple syrup.
That's not a love jam. That's a poem.
That's a part of the love jam. Go ahead, Chuck. Give her a little bit. Give her a little bit. We're going to give you a little something from Chuck.
Hey,
Maybe we'll
Vicky.
just go around the room.
Let me tell you, I really wanted you to come last week.
Yeah, he sure did.
And because of that, I want to give you a slow L-O-W jam.
Slow, low jam.
Give it to you slow.
Low.
Make you just feel
Tingle.
love.
Tingle. Oh, tingle, 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 tingle.
So the next time that we have our little party,
yeah,
you'll be sure to come and keep coming to every single one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So, again,
11.
At least you got a foot rub out of it.
Oh, yeah, you did get a foot rub.
All right.
I did.
Go ahead, Chuck.
And I've lost my concentration.
That was
Vicky,
good.
we apologize.
The foot rub got him.
Yeah, the foot rub. I gave her a foot rub. All right, listen, there's your love jam.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good job. Hey, Vicky, real quick.
You know, the first thing Chuck's mind went to when you said foot rub was toenails. It stopped it all right there.
I get a foot rub every single night.
Do you really?
I
She does.
absolutely do.
Chuck
Yeah, she
has
does.
came far.
Hey, you tell them. You tell
Ooh,
them.
really?
I rub. I
Have
rub.
mercy.
Yeah, tell them I rub, Vic. Rub everything.
You do.
Tell them I rub
Yes, you do.
everything.
It's been a long time since you rubbed everything.
No, I guarantee
The
he,
refrigerator don't count.
or himself.
Well, you know what, Chuck?
I guarantee he rubbed himself last week.
You know what I say? It's my
He's in a doghouse.
It's my dick and it's my soap, and I'll wash it as fast as I want to. Isn't that right, Chuck? Right, Vic?
No comment.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
That's right, baby. Hey, we love you, Vic.
No wonder that fire alarm downtown's been going off. You
love
were making the daggone water evaporate as fast as it was coming out.
Like a little friction fire.
Shoo. Hey, Vicky, thanks for talking with us, and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely.
All right, darling.
Love you.
All right. Love
Bye,
you.
Vicky.
Bye, honey. See you guys.
Bye. Hang the freaking phone up.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Vicky McBeck, the wife of Captain Earl over here. And let me tell you something. It's hot in here.
It is
hot in here.
The last
normally
Because
not
we're
the
in
case.
Honolulu.
The last
really
few
hot
weeks,
there.
the last few weeks, it's been very cold in here. And I'll tell you what, when I say cold, it's been very cold. And actually, it was very damp in here today because this thing is so well insulated. It seems like it takes about 4 or 5 days for it to, so I had the windows up, the doors open. Which, by the way, I almost walked around naked the house today, just because.
Yeah, there's a
Actually, you did. But that's okay.
Okay, let's get back to Pat. Pat, tell us some more things. Once again, Pat, from the city council, you're the vice mayor down in Shinston.
Yes.
And this year, you have, first of all, you have a mayor that's going to have to be filled. You have a city planner, a manager that's going to have to be filled. So, yeah, there's a lot of things just with the government itself that's going to have to be done. Now, as far as the city itself, as far as like plans or any kind of festivities, obviously you're going to have Frontier Days Parade, like you said.
Right, yeah, we'll have the same stuff that we've had for years. And again, the Wind Down Wednesday, I think a few of you made it over there for that.
Yeah.
That'll go carry on starting in May again, and it'll run through October. A lot of other plans with the Murphy Building downtown. We've got a lot to do with that. There's a lot of funding.
Well, tell me exactly what's going on, because let me tell you what was really cool about that place. I bought my very first record, my 45, down at the Five and Dime down there.
Right.
And I bought my class ring of Feasters. Well, Joyce's was kind of where Feasters Jewelers was. And all that. It was just like that's how it was. So when I walk down the streets of Shinston now, I'm thinking of old school, like walking in that Five and Dime or walking in Murphy's, whatever,
exactly.
Right.
and hearing the wood floors.
Yep.
Or going downstairs and seeing what the tour. I love that place. And then what was it after that? Family Dollar?
It was
or
Family Dollar.
Family
Dollar,
Dollar,
yeah. But anyway, the city actually bought that building.
The city bought that building with hopes of moving the city offices there, putting a senior center in, a conference center.
Because there's a lot of room.
Yeah, there's, I forget how many thousands of square feet, but essentially 4 floors, 3 floors above ground, and then the basement, which is a full basement. So there's plenty of room there. Again, like you spoke before, trying to find the funding for that is the first hurdle.
Yeah.
We've got the plans. We've had architects come in and take a look at it. We've had a few different architects submit some plans and ideas for it. Again, the big hurdle being the funding. So that's one of the big projects we're going to hit the ground running with this year for 2018 is getting that money. You're going to see some new sidewalks. We've been approved $500,000 for downtown sidewalks.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, that's a transportation enhancement grant. So we'll be working on that, getting the design work and everything completed, the preliminary engineering stuff on that.
Let me ask. I don't mean to interrupt you, but when it comes to like these grants and things like that, now, I mean, is there somebody in town? I mean, they just don't come. They don't come to you. I'm sure you actually have to file the paperwork, and there's probably a pretty constant job of somebody figuring out. I mean, where the grants are coming from, who's doing the grants, and there's probably all kinds of. Say like with a sidewalk, it'd have to meet federal guidelines as far as ramps, and they have to be so wide and so tall and all this different kind of stuff.
That's where the engineers come in with those kind of details. They know all that stuff. But to find the grants, you have to have somebody pretty dedicated to keep an eye out of what's coming down the pike, what money's going to become available. With the government shutdown and $17 trillion in debt, it's
it's probably getting
like you said, it's going to be a matter of time when this is just dried up.
Yeah.
So we're taking advantage of everything we can.
So like these grants that come down, like you said, you got to keep an eye on them. So this is like money from the government that for places like this, like Shinston,
right?
But it's like a first come first serve.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So like if Shinston's they see it, man, they got to jump on it or they'll lose it. Right.
Right. You apply for it, and they have I guess a committee there to hand out that money. They decide who is the best fit.
Probably
really okay.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, we're just to say not to be competing, but we'll say Lumberport just had sidewalks put in 5 years ago. Shinston didn't have put sidewalks for 20 years. They're going to, and they both put in for this. They're probably going to say, look. 20-year-old sidewalks compared to 5-year-old sidewalks, we're going to give it.
That's in the grant writing.
Oh, okay. Oh, it probably tells you then. Okay. Oh, okay. I got you. To qualify for it in the first place. Probably.
Right. Yeah.
I
see. That kind of stuff happens, and it's very competitive.
But that would, that job right there would be an unsung job because you would have to know all these little different intricacies about between sidewalks and fire hydrants or buildings or lights or whatever it might be.
And you have to put that in that application for the grant, so you have to know that and have an idea of that kind of stuff before they'll award you the money.
And then just because I feel like talking about that, please do. You have to have the matching money. So if it's like a 90-10 grant, if you apply for $1 million, you have to have your matching money there, or it's no good.
Also, so say if there was a project that you could get done and it's a $100,000 grant, but it's 90-10, then you have to have $10,000 in cash right now, or you're not getting any of it.
That's absolutely, really. And that's where our excess levy money comes in. Shinston passed the excess levy his last election, luckily, and we use that money as seed money for these. We can turn $10,000 into $110,000.
Right.
But we have to have that levy money to leverage these grants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
see, the smaller towns.
It's a lot. It's very complicated. Also,
you turn $100,000 into millions of dollars.
Well, the thing is, though, you hear a lot of in small town stuff. I hear it. You guys hear it. I mean, you hear a lot of complaints about it could be why there's solar cinders on the road to why the sidewalks falling apart. You know what I mean? Right. Well, you know what? That stuff doesn't just magically happen.
Right.
You can't just say, okay, we're going to put a sidewalk in. Because there's a lot of sidewalks.
Let me take that into another project we'll be starting moving dirt on hopefully in March is the new water line that'll come from Marion County into Shinston. The main 12-inch line will be replaced this year. And
now, is this the one coming from Manley Chapel in that way?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you know what I didn't know is that because I always wondered going to Manley Chapel going out to when the Middletown Mall was booming, but anytime we would go that way, I asked Eric one time. I was like, "Why is the water treatment plant? I mean, why is there a Shinston tank almost in Fairmont? Why is that, or Whitehall or whatever? Why is all that out there?" And well, Derek explained they're getting all their water out of the Tiger
River.
Yeah, which I didn't know that.
Yep. Right.
So anyway, you see the treatment plant out there, and then you see the tanks on top, and then from there to Shinston. You're going to bring that's going to be a hell of a project.
That was the original plan, is to bring it from the water treatment facility to town. Being that the project came in over bid, we've had to cut out some sections of pipe. But the sections that we've left that won't be included in this project now that we've cut out, they're really sturdy sections that we've not had a history of any problems with.
Mm-hmm.
The section from Marion County into Shinston, every winter. It's 4 or 5 major water breaks.
Yeah.
Losing water.
Because
like
how old
crazy.
is that? How old
Now,
is that line?
It's from 1978.
78.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so it's 40 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's 40 years old. And now you're talking about the streets and the plowing the streets and cinders and all that. During the snow and everything that we had a main water line break. Of course, those guys are in the hole in the freezing cold, fixing that water line. Those same 5 or 6 guys that do that are also the guys that come and plow your streets.
Right.
So
if you got all your resources over here, then there's no one to do this.
Right.
Hey,
and that's one of my goals during the next, through council, is to find some funding to hire more public works guys.
Well, you know what?
Because it's hard for six guys to keep up a whole town, and it's a lot of work.
And you know what? And it's to think about it, and because you're in a tough job. I mean, and if you think about it, like say, I'm thinking about it in a standard of living, say, being is that okay? You have 6 guys that are just like in Lumberport here. And they're great guys because they're jack of all trades. Darren did it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, jack of all trades.
I've done that job.
From water breaks to picking up trash, and fantastic guys. I mean, they just do everything.
Gotta take your hat off.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're there when I wouldn't want to be.
Right.
I mean, but when I was there, I did. I drove the garbage truck. I read the meters. We
in any kind of
fixed
weather.
the water line. Yeah, we fixed the water line
all the time.
We had to go out and look for water leaks, and then we had to deal with, while we're right there by the property, we had to deal with the homeowners and everything, and then we had to plow the roads. I mean, it's the same guys.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was only 4 of us from
Right.
Lumberport.
Yeah. And, just like in town, say you have 6 guys, and you have so much money that you have to pay those 6 guys. Well, you could obviously use 20 guys. At which point,
ideally 20 guys.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So you could either have 6 guys that get this much money, or you could take this much money and give it to 20 guys, which it's going to hurt. You know what I mean? Say, what do you do?
And then nobody's going to want to come to work for the little bit that you're paying because you're spreading it out too thin.
Especially for
so
the
it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to be able to fund that, and I think I found a funding stream possibly to do that, and build a demolition fund, which is another thing that Shinston needs to clean up some of these properties that are abandoned. These LLCs will come in, these limited liability companies, and they'll buy up this property at the courthouse without ever seeing what the property is. Well, then they find out they bought a lemon. Then they just keep passing the buck and passing it down, selling it, letting it go back to the courts. So eventually the city typically ends up with it. And there again is the funding for trying to finance that. So I'm hoping that we have found a reliable stream of funding for the demolition. And just sprucing up a town, really.
Right. I mean, because it's just like I said, it's just you're getting torn in so many different directions. And in a town like Shinston, there's so many things that happen. You have like water lines, like you said, infrastructure, and it just seems like, at least from my perspective, it was all built about the same time, so it all goes bad about the same time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And everything,
it pours.
If every 5 years you had a project, that would be okay. But it's not, because you had the sewer, and then it's like, oh well, they put the sewer in about the same time as they put the drains in, about the same time they put the water lines in. So guess what? They're both, because the ground shifts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything shifts.
20 years ago, the economy's great. All these grants come in, you replace all this infrastructure. 20 years later,
it all comes back again, right? It's brutal like that.
It's never ending. It's never ending.
And you want to try to plan for the future. When you're doing that as well, you just don't want to fix it for what you have. You want to be able to say, hey, you know what? Maybe have the foresight to say, hey, that in 15 years it's going to be bigger. We're going to have this is going on, or so on and so forth. You want to try to plan for the future, and that makes it difficult as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't try not to replace what you have. You try to make it better. Like a 10-inch line's coming into town now. We're going to make it 12 inches. Just hopefully,
boing.
To feed the growth.
I wish Michelle was at times trying to make it 12 inches.
That's right.
One thing that I have found out is the small towns that have their own zip codes have it worse than anybody else. I'll just take, for example, Monongah actually has Fairmont's zip code.
Okay.
So the area, when Fairmont applies for grants and everything, they can apply for bigger grants and they get more money because of the population that Fairmont has compared to Shinston. Well, that also encompasses Monongah. So they get to add our numbers in and our amount of acreage or land and everything, which raises the
You know what? I've wondered that, because there's a city route. There's a postal city route out of Fairmont that hits Monongah.
Yeah, it's actually considered a
Most
city
of-
route.
Most of Marion County has the Fairmont zip code. It's a majority of why that was.
And really, what that is for these cases right here, that Fairmont zip code actually gets more funding because the area is so much larger.
But now, you know what? Now, if I remember something, now you could correct me, but I'm almost positive. Wasn't there something years ago that they wanted? And I don't know if it was Morgantown, Fairmont, and Clark. They wanted to have some kind of to bring like a greater city or like
a metro style government,
right? Like a metro. Didn't they try to get that together? Or something? There was something. There was something.
It was before my time. I don't really remember.
Up until 2 years ago, it might have been last session. I think it was 2. You couldn't do that. Now you can.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Did they actually allow that now? To where maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Combined, like for example, if Bridgeport and Shenstown wanted to make an agreement, they can.
Yeah.
And share resources.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking. Was that a state legislature thing?
That was.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing to do. I'm sorry. I think it's important for cities to share their resources, not so much combine.
Right.
But I know Bridgeport's put out a hand to us. And they'll tell us if we have this equipment or these men, if you need them, call, and we'll help you out. So that's great. And I think that a lot of like Lumberport needs to call Shenstown when they need help, or we'll call Lumberport when we need help. So if we can have essentially like a fire department works, mutual aid agreements, to say we've got a main water line break, Bridgeport or Lumberport, can you send us a couple guys over here and help us plow the streets while our guys are fixing the line? So that kind of stuff I think will go a long way. Like I said, you don't want to lose your city's identity, but to share resources.
Yeah, because I mean, and it almost really helps everybody. I mean, it just does. If not, you're just going to have to raise. It like I said, it could really spiral out of control if you don't watch it. But you can only do so much. There's just only so much you can do.
Right.
And Clarksburg's finding that out. You know what I mean? In a really bad way is that. They started for whatever reason, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but everybody started leaving, which the taxes went down. So then it started with the cops, and those guys started to split. Then all of a sudden you see this stuff on the Harrison County rant room, which caused more people just to get out. They're just getting the hell out of there. And then you're bringing it's all rentals now. Nothing wrong against that, but you're bringing that. What you're seeing, I mean, we're seeing needles and stuff. We used to see them all the time. Mm-hmm. Just like on my old route over in Staley, it went from in a span of 7 years, it went from an ideal little neighborhood to where
it's iffy.
Not so desirable.
Everybody's trying to get out of there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Before it's too late, they're trying to get something out of their house before everybody's living next to a drug dealer. Not saying it's full of drugs, but you know what I'm saying,
right?
Right. And then now everybody. But you look at the exodus from Clarksburg, and you look at the influx in Bridgeport. Right. You know what I mean? And all around that.
And it's all a cycle, I think.
Absolutely.
40 years from now, it'll go somewhere else.
Well, it's always expanding. I mean, it could always go down. You look down there near the Saltwell exit and all of that stuff. I mean, you have all this land, just like on Meadowbrook Road on the 4 lane right there, to put all that stuff in. I mean, there's stuff all over the place.
On that old farm. I mean, look at all those apartments and
stuff.
That,
I mean, it's constantly evolving. Constantly evolving. Look at Morgantown, for crying out loud. Before long, Morgantown's going to be on the tip of Fairmont. Yeah. I mean, it's everywhere.
It's coming.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed too is not just apartments and stuff. There's a lot of townhouses going in.
Yeah,
hundreds of $1,000s for just a townhouse.
Yeah,
a couple spots to park your car.
There is a bright side of that, and the bright side is we are fortunate because in North Central West Virginia we're doing pretty well.
We're
doing really well.
Yeah,
right. Go down
compared
south.
to the rest of the state.
We're leading the state. So we're very fortunate here.
That's
but I was talking to somebody the other day about infrastructure. Well, this has nothing to do with Shenstown or anything like this. Is just us talking like boys now about West Virginia having this problem with attracting resources or businesses and things like that. And the one I never really thought of this, but when they took the train line rails out, the train rails from say Clarksburg to Parkersburg, they took that out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's ever going to be here? Because that's like a main thing. You could use trucks, but trucks are only good for so many certain things. I mean, rail would be your perfect scenario. You know what I mean? But now there is no rail because they took it out. Well, that was a railroad decision, obviously. But, I mean, it's just like, okay, well, that kind of hurt a little bit. Yeah, I mean, because that's a main line.
Yeah, you think about it now, the rail around here is no freight I mean, hardly at all. It's
Yeah.
all coal.
And you know what? Even that,
You know,
it's starting to really come back.
So-
Back in the day, we would hear the coal train come through town 3 or 4 times a day.
Mhm.
Now it might be once, something like that. But they're getting pretty efficient. Actually, I heard they're going to build another power plant around here somewhere.
In Clarksburg.
A gas one?
A natural gas power plant. That's preliminary. There'll be a lot of construction jobs that come with that, but there won't be as many people to run the plant. I mean, there's going to be it's jobs. That's a plus.
Yeah.
That's jobs, but that's all preliminary.
If you can get people to pass a urinalysis.
I think well, yeah. Now a lot of that is not as bad as what we make it out to be in the media, like what the media makes it out to be, or so on and so forth. But you're right. You got to have the people who want to have the ability to get a job, and you have to have them trained and ready to go. And that's why it is vital. I'm going to get on a rampage.
Do it, man. Do it.
I don't want to.
Do it. Derek's soapbox.
Let's do it. Listen. Hold on. I like it.
We got a week. We got
That's
a
a
week.
new segment.
Okay,
Derek
hold
does
on.
have some
New
soapboxes.
segment. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by because new segment on Rogan Radio. It's called D-Max Soapbox.
Well, what's irritating, but I will say this: in this current legislative session, the governor said it in his State of the Union address and was stressing about technical schools and technical college, and hopefully to help get students credit for that, kind of like the Promise Scholarship works now.
Right.
That way you have a trained and ready workforce that's available for jobs like that, this power plant or masonry work or whatever they do at the tech center, stuff like that. And that's a huge problem that we have in the state, and a lot of industry may not want to come here and invest and build and maybe have like an Amazon plant as an example,
Right.
Because you don't have the workers that are available for that. Well, that's something when I was running for office 2 years ago, that was one of my main things. I said, hey, not everybody is built to go to college and get
Not
a
everybody
four-year
needs
degree.
to. Not everybody needs to.
We need trade workers.
We need trade
We need the
workers.
skills.
Listen, I don't mean to interrupt, but college around here is a business.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
look how many colleges there are. Look how many college jobs there are. So everybody go to college. What are you going to do with it? Anyway, continue on your soapbox.
Anyway. Where I was going with that is, yes, the infrastructure is needed. Now, there's a kick on what you're talking about, like where the rails and trails are there.
Mm-hmm.
The railroads still owns that.
They still own the actual
Yes,
right of way.
Absolutely. Now it's been, obviously turned into the rails and trails and used for recreational use. But if something would come down the pike and they want to repurpose that, it can be done.
Really?
Oh,
There's
no,
some
see, I
dudes
didn't
that
know
got-
that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, they
That's
had the right
awesome.
to come back.
Now, you know what? This
put
is
rail
what.
back in.
Let me ask you this question: have you ever thought about this? I mean, the railroad's been around since Christ left Pittsburgh, 1800s, right?
Right.
Have you ever thought what it took? You just look around. I mean, even if you just drive around here and you look at the rail beds and how that thing is cut or the grades on the hill,
Right.
have you? And it's perfect. Now you know what? How did they do it? When before
With all hand labor.
it was.
All hand labor.
I mean, they may have had some
At
steam. They
first.
may have had some steam. Steam
That's
like
when
shovels
men
and stuff
actually
like that.
worked like men.
But
Exactly.
you think about how it has
Exactly.
stood the test of time. If you want to see something besides like the Coliseum or something like,
Right.
you look at a train track, and that thing's it might have had new rails on it, or maybe even new ties in it. But you know what? The bed itself, that thing, I mean, it's amazing.
I'm going to bring you a book that I have at my house.
Yeah.
That talks about the railroad in West Virginia.
Oh, don't
specifically.
get him
You know,
started
I'm
on
going
trains.
to because it is absolutely awesome.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And it goes from exactly what you're talking about, who owned it, who engineered it, who the lead engineer was, some problems that occurred, so on and so forth. And it was written by an author in Fairmont.
Really?
Yes. And he just had a new book come out as well.
He's still alive?
Yeah.
We got to have him on a
Oh,
show.
hell
You
yeah.
want to?
Yes.
Well, let's read the book first.
Well, it's it's awesome. I've read it twice already, but I'll bring it. It's really thick.
Does
It's
it have
got
pictures?
all kinds.
I love it.
Chuck would love it.
Well,
It's a picture
Love
book.
it.
we'll do it.
It's a pop-up book. Jack likes the pop-up
Hey, you
book.
know what? I was just looking on here too.
Listen.
I was just looking on here too. Mark Walsh brings up something about
Yes.
the technical schools and stuff like that. As it's written on the books right now, you have to be 20 years old to qualify.
Right.
To actually go to a tech center, you mean?
To actually go to a technical school to be trained in a trade.
So,
Well, do you?
Well,
I mean, my daughter went to a tech school.
It depends on what type of certification that you're
but
getting.
no. Let me ask you this though. When you say that, because you have to go through. Now again, I don't know this firsthand. This is just me thinking I know what I'm talking about. Say a welder.
Okay.
Well, you just don't go in to be a welder.
No.
I mean, you have to do your apprenticeship, and you have to do all these different things. Then is that you do all of that,
You have
and
to
then
take a test, national
but,
test.
But say at 20 is when you can. By that time, is that when you become a welder? Or is that when you can start to be an apprentice?
No, I think you become an apprentice before that. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think you can take the test and become certified.
You have to have so many years of experience.
Yeah, probably,
and
because I know there's kids in high school, like kids that my daughter went to high school with, in their senior year. I mean, they were taking welding classes at the tech center.
But they couldn't be a certified welder until they're 20.
Maybe that's what Mark's
But
talking
because
about.
they have to be supervised. Well, you were doing over at Buckeye Steel, weren't you?
Just like
No, I was a burner. I ran a torch.
Okay.
Oh.
Just
but I did
doing
work
like
on railroad.
Did you really?
Yeah, we Buckeye Steel made the castings, like the draft arms and the bolsters for the and the frames that the wheels set in for the railroad cars and all that. And that was my job. The crane would come, they'd bring them out of the oven, they'd lay them down on the rails, and I would have to burn all the scrap and all the holes and everything out of the.
You ever put your name?
How wide's a railroad? How wide is a railroad rail?
About this long.
How wide?
They're standard gauges.
Wide enough to put a
It's
penny
in this
down
book.
and let the train run
How
over it.
wide? How wide is a rail?
That is illegal.
How wide is a rail?
I did that. That's
2
what
inches.
I did as a child.
2 inches.
As a child.
Well, there's different types of rail.
Right.
And that
Is
way
that really?
they would compete against each other. And
destruction of money.
It's pretty crazy. Overseas, I think it's all
I did it when I was a
real
kid.
narrow rail.
All the time.
I think you're right. And what the hell are you guys over there talking about? You want to go back to Hawaii? Then get out of here.
I
Take
said
your
it-
Falcon
no,
9
I said
space rocket.
a railroad track is wide enough to put a penny down and let a train flatten it. And Chad said that's illegal.
Yeah,
and I said that's what I did as a kid.
Yeah,
like,
that caused the train to derails, actually.
Way to go.
Way to go.
Well, trust me, this was
Train police, come and get her.
No,
No
this
statute of limitations.
Okay, this was
It's
30 to
destruction
40
of federal
odd years
government
ago.
money.
That's what I said. No
I tell you what I like to used to do when they had the telegraph lines that ran along the tracks, and they had the ceramics, those little ceramic, the insulators on those things. Oh, you can get rocks and throw rocks at cabooses. Oh man, it pissed some guys off right now.
Hey, shoot him
Piss
with a
them
BB
dudes off.
gun.
It ain't like they can
Oh, yeah.
stop, man.
I never did that though because I love trains.
Yeah.
Shoot the ceramics with BB guns.
Oh man!
I-
But you
I-
think about
I
how
don't know
much
who
money.
did that, though.
You think about how much money it will actually cost. Going back to the railroad for a second. Between all this, yeah,
Hold on. I'll give you a sound effect that I learned while I was little.
Okay.
Here you go. Hold on.
Oh,
Let me see.
hold on.
Technical difficulty, folks.
Uh-oh. Here
This
we
is
go.
what I did in school.
You know how you can hear the train going across
Oh
the
yeah,
street?
yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
Do it again, Bruce. Do it on your chest this time. Okay, do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting headed to Rogan Station. Next track is 19. Your destination is Roanoke, Virginia. Coming up now, we have Bruce Takahashi on track number 9. Thanks for flying or riding Rogan Railway.
Brucey.
All aboard the Polar Express. Come on, ride the train. Michelle's going to be the engineer. Okay, anyhow.
Come on, ride it, train.
So one last question.
Train.
I want to ask you this quick question, and we're going to get the heck out of here because it's roasting this hot. Pat, once again, thanks for coming in. And listen, we want to have you come in more often because we could talk about this all night. And it's really good, not only for us because I get to learn a lot of things, but it's really good to have like sort of a public forum. So if somebody wants to ask you something, or you could tell them something, because you hear so many armchair quarterbacks, or you hear so many people that think they know what they're talking about, and it's like urban legend
The
kind of stuff.
smartest people on earth will not run for office.
Absolutely.
100% true.
Yeah, absolutely. And this way you can kind of, maybe things aren't perfect. Nothing's going to ever be
It's not
perfect.
gonna be.
No, but you can at least explain why it is that way.
Right.
So that then maybe this helps
I'd
a little
love to
bit.
come back. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's
Hey,
fun as hell.
Here's something I learned in the military.
Yeah.
When you hear everybody complaining and all that, if you have a complaint, develop a solution, then come to me with your complaint and your solution.
Bingo.
Well, I'll tell you what. Now, see, when I started hearing complaints out of her, I just look at her and tell her to shut her damn mouth. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm like this. She's like this. She's like, blah,
That's
blah, blah.
why you
I don't
sleep
even
on
hear
the couch.
I'm like, here's blah, 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 blah. And I say, shut your damn mouth.
And that works.
I never say that because it never happens.
That
But it
works
sounds.
for
It
a
makes me,
one-term councilman.
listen, it makes me sound like a man. It makes me sound like a
Hey,
man. when
babe,
I-
you do sound like
I
a
know.
man.
Who's a man? Who runs this house? Who runs this house?
Hey, and don't forget my foot rub tonight.
Okay.
Pussy. Willow.
Anyway, we'll talk about this next week. I want to get into this conversation about GM's coming out with this new car that was going to be out, I think, next year. That does not have a steering wheel and does not have pedals. It's completely automated. Now listen,
that sounds scary.
Well, it does sound scary.
That's total recall stuff.
Well, yeah, that sounds. But I want to know. I mean, listen. I would at times like somebody else to drive, but I like driving because say if you're driving down to Myrtle Beach, it's pretty boring while you drive. It's even more boring when you're not driving. You know what I mean? You can only sleep for so long. I mean, you're just sitting there like this going.
Hey. 5,362 miles. That's Cindy, how many miles she drove.
Yeah, but you know what? All
200.
Yeah, all those traveling you guys went through, the way I grew up, we take them, your mass transit with the trains.
Right.
I was like, as big as this country is, I just don't see why they didn't keep the trains running.
Yeah, I know. That's a good question, too. That's a good question.
I want a bullet train in the United States.
Oh, that would be nice.
Amtrak is almost there. You mean
it's getting pretty close?
If they quit wrecking.
Well, that was.
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
but you know what? But you know what's bad
about?
Out there. But you know what? By federal law, that 30-mile-an-hour turn should not even been there. That's why that guy wasn't even worried about it.
Oh, really?
That turn was illegal to even be there because they built this track, but they used an old piece of track with that 30-mile-an-hour turn or whatever in there. Which is, when it comes to those kind of trains, it should not have been there in the first place.
Well, they should have safeguards on these trains like that.
Well,
that
it's funny. It is funny.
No.
Listen, it is funny you say that because that's going to tie into next week. It's going to tie in with this thing, but they also have these smart things on trains now with GPS and all this other stuff that will it will let the engineer know when something's coming up, and if the engineer doesn't slow the train down, it will slow it down automatically.
You want to know what's crazy? The PRT in Morgantown does that now.
Isn't that nuts?
Yes, and that was engineered in the 70s.
Yeah, and that's the only one. That's why you know what? Michelle's never been on the PRT.
Oh, really?
I have not.
The people mover.
PRT's awesome.
I've never been on it.
We need to go do a segment on that and just go in there.
Where I went to college, there was no PRT. It was walk.
It was putting your thumb out in the street.
No, you just walked.
Well, I mean,
just walked. I mean, don't make this more than it is, Chuck. You just walked.
Shut your damn mouth.
Period.
See how I did that? It worked pretty well. It worked pretty well.
Right here in front of everybody too.
But the
what a man.
Oh, I know, because when I go inside, she's going to black my eyes, so I can't. I have to do it in front of. I have to have some witnesses. But then the other thing was, would you even think about buying this car? And if you do buy this car, which will go into all this other stuff, which will be a great conversation. Pat, you're welcome to come back to talk about that too. We won't even talk about the city government. But who is liable at that point? Who becomes liable for the insurance? Because you're not driving. You're not driving. Is it going to be GM? Is it going to be whoever's controlling? I mean, who's pays insurance? Because how can you be liable for something you can't even control?
So basically, you're purchasing a seat.
Basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we'll get into that conversation. I've been wanting to talk about that for a couple weeks now.
I'll stay with motorcycles. Thank you.
Yeah, they have a completely autonomous motorcycle also.
That's sacrilege.
No, I'm just checking. They don't have anything like that. It's called riding bitch. That's what I call it.
Bitch! Just like he did on the back of his motorcycle.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, man, I like to ride that thing backwards sometimes, boy. The only problem is Todd can't see when I do it.
Yeah. Riding cowboy, is that what you call it?
Is that what it is?
Riding cowgirl.
Reverse cowgirl.
Oh,
yeah, reverse cowgirl.
Yeah.
Oh,
reverse cowboy. Yeah, that's what it is.
Anyway, I want to thank Pat for coming in. I want to thank the Jet Sky airline that flew Michelle Supersonic from Bridgeport up to DC, over to Honolulu, back to Lumberport again.
Jet Skies, that was awesome.
It was fantastic. Cindy's in with Darren. I'm glad you guys had a nice time out there.
Thank you, sir.
And that's great. And Brucey, he was on vacation, but he came back also. We almost saw like a twin brother you had in there, Brucey.
Yeah, I thought it was your twin.
Well, everybody said that all of us Asian people look the same.
You know.
That's great. We had a fantastic time last week, and we had to call and apologize to Vicky McBeck, which we would be more than happy to. We even gave her a love jam. We haven't done one of those for a long time.
We really haven't.
And I thought it was great.
It was.
But anyway, on behalf of everybody of us here, Darren, you got that thing ready? You got it ready? We're going on behalf of Chad, Pat. We have Brucey, we have Cindy, we have the director who is back in town, Darren. We also have Michelle A, the D-Mac over there. Jimmy's not here, and Todd, Captain Earl Beck. It's number 10.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, it's already ready to go, though. Separate from 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, it's all new, so you're going to have to put up with some of these new things. New green screen.
I thought I had to
tonight.
reset it.
Yeah, no, it was already reset. The only thing you got to do is switch it and hit play. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Rogan Radio.
Bye.
See you later.